If you're thinking about buying the Rose Inc Skin Enhance Luminous Skin Tint, I have 5 things I need you to know before you do. Watch this. Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Britt, creator of The Style Shaker, your guide to cleaner, greener beauty, skincare, and beyond. I try all these products out for you and share my honest reviews over here so you have a better idea of what to buy and more importantly, what not to buy. And yes, today we're talking about the Rose Inc Skin Tint. Sucker's $49. I'm gonna walk through 5 things I want you to know. They're totally based on my scorecard. Links to everything will be below. And if you like these types of honest reviews, please take 2 seconds, hit that like button. It makes a huge difference over here and supports the channel. So without further ado, let's get started with the first thing I want you to know. Well, okay, before I get into that, the days that I tested this were longer than normal because it was a tricky one. It was a tricky one. I tested it for about 21 days or so. This is review number 539. Yes, 539. So she's been busy. So first thing I want to talk about are the ingredients. Rose Inc is Rosie Huntington Whiteley's brand. I don't know if you know that, celeb. And it's also a part of another larger group called Amorous. And they have been acquiring a lot of different brands with celebrities. So JVN is one of them. They have Biosense, Reese Witherspoon being their ambassador. So they're kind of creating, it's kind of cool to watch. Sorry, I'm nerding out about that. That's not the ingredients. They're growing like crazy. And all of their products have this plant-derived squalane or squalane. I like to say squalane. I feel like it sounds better, but it's a moisturizing ingredient, and that is also in this, along with sodium hyaluronate, so hyaluronic acid, and they call out acetyl, wait for it, tetrapeptide 2. So I dug around a little bit on what that is. It's a peptide, the word peptide's in it, and it's supposed to environmentally protect the skin. So of course I was like, how does it do that? We hear about that with antioxidants, but I haven't heard of this ingredient. Evidently, and I have links to all of this back on the scorecard post, but it can help boost collagen and help the skin's immune defenses. There's a lot of information about this ingredient. A lot of it happens to be in hair care products. I don't know. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about the other ones I mentioned. There is one ingredient in here, amodimethicone. It is a silicone, so if you are trying to avoid silicones, I like to avoid them because dimethicone breaks my skin out. Not because I want to fearmonger or make everybody think that it's like an evil ingredient. It just doesn't work for my skin. It's about better for you products, right? So that's in there. If you're trying to avoid silicones, just know that. You might want to try something else. And for those of you that are freaked out by the word aluminum in your products, you have every right to be. But I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the aluminum hydroxide that's inside here. I am not a cosmetic chemist. You need to consult an expert if you want clear answers, because this girl is not going to give you chemistry-based answers. I'm just learning as I go, so please know that this is not meant to be medical advice or chemistry advice. But this ingredient can provide opacity, so it can make things pop a little more in terms of color or shades. Also used with titanium dioxide, which is one of those may contain ingredients in here, so you might not like that either. Some people really don't. It is different from the aluminum chlorohydrate, which is in a lot of antiperspirants, so it is a different aluminum, but it is a type of aluminum. You may or may not be okay with that. I just wanted to take a second and call it out. Other than that, I'm not seeing any additional red flags. Let's get on to the second thing I want to talk about. Application. So this is really interesting. This Skin Enhance Luminous Tinted Serum. Had to read the bottle. This is the claim. It's a radiant skin tint that visibly plumps and smooths the skin while delivering sheer coverage. So this is not meant to be like a high coverage situation, which we will get to soon. But application, this has these little spheres floating in the formula. It's a pretty thin gel-like formula. Not super wet and drippy, but it's a little bit thinner. I was putting it directly onto my face. I can use a brush. They sell a brush that's made for this. I don't think you need to buy it, but you do you. So I tried that and it wasn't really working. It was applying very streaky. It wasn't spreading on the skin. It took me a long time to get it just to like okay in terms of application. I'm not really happy with how this applied. I found it to be very tricky for my skin. What ended up working better was putting it in my hands and pressing it together so the little bubbles would burst and things would start doing their thing in the formula. You can see it look a little bit more even out, and then you apply it. And then I've used my hand or a sponge, but really I think the hand is the best, but you just press it in in. The brush made it look very streaky. I just didn't like it. The formula did, however, dry down very quickly. It's very lightweight. There was no tackiness, so passed the touch test. It is water-based, so I made sure that I tried this with a water-based cream underneath versus an oil. Oil first and then this on top I think would be a little problematic. But either way, it just was very tricky application, which I rarely say over here. It received a 2 out of 5 for application. Not good. It's supposed to provide light coverage. There is a consumer study on there. They make me laugh. So check that out. It's all back on the website. One layer did give a nice glow. It has that sort of light reflecting thing happening, so makes things look as though they're diffused without too much opacity in the formula, so it's not like a layer of foundation. Totally got that. I saw the glow. If I wasn't looking at the finish, which I'm going to talk about in a second, I did see that. And I would say yes, it did provide light coverage. It was crazy kind of how strong the coverage was, especially when I added a little bit more on. This isn't necessarily the kind of product you want to build. They don't talk about that, but of course I needed to try. And the shade that I have is 040. It looked very light. It almost started to look like a white cast, like something you would get out of SPF after that second buildup, which was kind of unexpected. Overall for coverage, again, it wasn't really a hit, but it wasn't terrible. I gave it a 3 out of 5 on the scorecard. Finish, supposed to give you a radiant finish. From far away, it looked good. It did. It looked glowy. It looked like plumper, but really like just glowy, because you know that makes things look a little bit deceiving. But from far away, it looked good. It was just close up. It did not work on my skin, no matter what I tried. I tried so many things. I really wanted this to work. While I gave that subtle glow, it just looked, I still saw streaks. I saw it kind of really finding any dip or pore or dry spot. It was like, ooh, let's go to that. It was weird. It just did not work well on my skin. So if you have dry skin, I am assuming this could be tricky, but correct me if I am wrong. It's just one person's perspective. So I love hearing from people in the comments. Let us know your skin type and how it worked for you. Specifically, if you have dry skin, I would love to know. Yeah, the finish just was not great. It also got a 2 out of 5. I know. And finally, the wear test, it didn't get better. It just didn't get better. Mainly because of the finish and texture. The actual evening out, again, from far away was good. I just wouldn't want anybody looking at my face in natural light or being too close to it. I could not seem to make this skin tint work. Reminds me a lot of the Jane Iredale foundation, the mineral foundation. I'll put a link to that below, but yeah. So the final score here was very depressing. It was a 10 out of 20. Whew. I try to keep these objective, but my skin was just not having it. So as you can imagine, my final verdict, right? Will this make Britt's picks? I'm gonna ask you, what do you think? Britt's picks, for those of you that don't know. Out of all the products that I test, only a few make it onto this list. There's maybe 30, maybe 40. It goes up and down every month, and I share my updates over here. Very hard to get on that list. It is truly my favorites that I have either purchased again or have recommended to people, or both. So do you think it's gonna make it? No, it's not gonna make it. Unless I call Rose Inc and they're like, you're doing it all wrong. But I read all the ways to apply it. I watched the demos. Yeah, it just wasn't working for me. So that's what the scorecard says. That's what I think. What do you think about this skin tint, which is pretty expensive for what it is, in the sense that I am not going to be able to use it, but it also does have some nice skincare like ingredients, so I can understand a bit of the price point. But yeah, I'm just kind of bummed. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I'll probably use it as a mixer. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I always love hearing from you, and that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching this one. I know it was a little tough, but hey, I keep it honest all the time, like I promise. And yeah, this was just a tough one. If you found this helpful and you would like to support this channel so I can keep making these videos, that would be great. Don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe so you never miss another review coming through, and I will see you right back here real soon. Until then, bye. Do they have to use the word skin twice in the product title? I don't know. Also, I'm just really excited that my sweatshirt looks like fruit stripe gum. So you have a fuzz.